been having a good rhythm the last 3-4 games. Looking back, the last 3-4 games, I've been in a good rhythm. Feeling good. I want to play basketball.
You were off a little bit. You hadn't played till Saturday. So, why do you think it carried over? What allowed you to carry it over?
I'm in a good rhythm right now. Like I said, in my past 3-4 games, I've been shooting basketball really well. Getting back to my normal self, come off the bench, and just trying to produce. So, my teammates did a good job of finding me as well.
Bobby, lots of times guys who go to new teams, take a few games to fit in. Why was it so easy for you to just get out there and fit in so easily?
When I first got here yesterday, I started to go right off. Everybody welcomed me in. All my teammates and coaches just wanted me to be myself. Obviously, I'm a guy that loves to play basketball in a lot of ways, so they have to be myself. I'll come in and try to find a team, come in and see who you are. That's what I showed them.
After a crazy few days, you said, obviously in Chicago, what was it like to go out there and compete?
It was fun, man. I love playing the game of basketball. I love going out there and giving my all. I played a ton of, passion each and every time I step on the court. I think that showed tonight. And that's what I go out there and just play basketball. It's been since Saturday, like you said, so I want to go out there and have fun.
Bobby, what does it mean for you to have your team debut with the Wizards and get the game ball and have your teammates kind of embrace you like that? You're just now getting it.
It's fun, man, and it's welcoming. It makes me feel right at home. Obviously, I left a good place where me and my teammates had a great bond with one another. I think this locker room has a great bond as well. They welcomed me in. My first day today, they shoot around and I feel right at home. So that made me feel really, really good.
What do you think it's going to feel like tomorrow when you have to go right back and play them?
It's going to feel weird. Like I said, normally, like when I drive to the UC, driving in down the Rolling Dock, this time I'll be taking the bus down the Rolling Dock. So it'll be a little weird, and but I'll get over it. Once the game time come in, I'm a guy that really kind of lock in.
When you're deciding to pick and pop versus rolling around?
It all depends on who's guarding. If I'm playing a 4, and it's a 4-man guarding me, I was supposed to. If it's a 5-man guarding me, I'll pop. Most 5s really can't get out there to the 3-point line, so it allows me to get it off and take my time. And most 5s are playing drop nowadays in the NBA, so that's to my advantage.
What can you say about Jabari's passing ability, especially in transition?
He's a spectacular player that loves handling the ball and distributing the ball as well. He can handle the ball, he can play multiple positions, and he's a mismatch problem for 4-man. Most 4-men aren't told to guard the ball as much as he handles the ball. So I think that's to our advantage.
Good evening. Welcome to another episode of the Focus TV. We missed you guys last week. We're so happy to be back this week. And there's a lot to discuss, NBA trade deadline. Some people's lives changed, some people's lives didn't. For those that didn't, some people are upset, some people aren't. The Wizards made moves. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Got a college segment. High school rankings are back. Cardell has fire for rapid fire. Is going to be crazy this week as well. I saw a couple of the questions, so I'm already, I'm looking forward to it and not at the same time. Cardell has an announcement to make as well. So, we got a lot of store, but we're going to start with the Washington Wizards. They're 2-1 after the trade deadline, where they acquired Bobby Portis, Jabari Parker, and Wesley Johnson in 2 separate trades. In those trades, we saw Otto Porter Jr. and Markieff Morris leave the Wizards. Essentially, it's an audition for the 2 younger players that they traded for, and they also got under the cap under their salary cap to avoid the luxury tax, which is kind of obviously it's a big thing because you never want to pay the luxury tax when you can't compete. That really changed when we got that news last week about John rupturing his Achilles while already being out for his heel. So now the timetable for his rehab is between 11 and 15 months. Get over to findersmag.com and mamonasports.com. We got some more details on that. But the Wizards beat the Cavs at home. Then they started a 3-game road trip, which is right before All-Star break, which is this weekend. They beat the Bulls on the road, which was a big revenge game for the 2 young bulls, because that wasn't a happy breakup. Is the simplest way to say that. The last night, they faced the Pistons with Andre Drummond returned, and Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin combined for 60-something points and all of the rebounds. Tomorrow they'll be in Toronto to wrap up that road trip. But another thing to keep in mind is since they've gotten these new pieces, obviously they don't practice like they used to in the olden days in the NBA. All-Star break does give you a chance for those young guys to kind of actually learn plays, get more acclimated with their teammates, whatnot. But Cardell, your thoughts on the moves and the Wizards in general before we talk about the trade deadline as a whole?
I mean, I like them. You know what I'm saying? Bobby Portis can bowl, Jabari Parker can bowl. I mean, I heard a lot of people, especially local radio, talking about how Jabari Parker was a bust or whatnot. I'm like, the only thing that stopped him was injuries. You know what I mean? It's just, then getting traded from team to team, having to learn systems. People don't understand how hard that is. It's hard to learn a system with one team, but there's a lot of people that, talk basketball. You could tell they don't really have that perspective. They never played. And, I love the moves because it gives them versatility and athleticism. It don't give them size. That's something they got to address this offseason in the draft. But it gives them, versatility and athleticism. Bobby Porter's always been skilled ever since college. That's how he became the draft pick he became when he gave Kentucky work, at Arkansas. Jabari Parker was the number 2 pick for a reason. I heard one local guy talking about, how was he even picked there, just off of one season at Duke that's been playing at Duke. Nah, that's just his resume throughout high school, being one of the best players in the country all the way through Duke. I was seeing him before he even enrolled Duke going toe-to-toe with KD, and KD was about to be MVP of the league. That's how talented he is, you know what I'm saying? So at KD Skills Academy, he's a Silver Friend. So he's always been a playmaking guy that was special and talented and whatnot. His defense needed to improve, but I think on the bricks it will. You know what I mean? But put in the right situation, and if he stay healthy, he would do his thing. You see what Bobby Porter's doing. I mean, he's on a mission. So I expect them to lock him up. That was a good trade for Otto, to get younger, get from under that cap. You got basically 2 pieces that both can put up the same numbers as Otto for way cheaper. And you got an opportunity to sign both of them, which adds depth to your roster moving forward, which they need, and they're younger. That to me, Ernie did a good job with that. So I love what they brought. Now against the Pistons and the loss, it was just, it reared its ugly head. The same old thing, not rebounding, not defending. I mean, you said Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin had their way. They did. They dominated. Combined for I think 63 points and 26 rebounds and 9 assists. It's hard to win like that now. If it was just them dominating, I'm cool with that.
Right.
But the fact that the Pistons shot 51% from 3, like, you got to take something away, man. They got whatever they wanted. So that's why it was hard for them to beat them. And, think about it. Reggie Jackson was 4 for 4 from 3. Blake Griffin was 4 for 10. I think Kennard was 4 for 6. It's hard to beat any team when they hit threes like that. And the thing is, the Wizards shot well. They shot well enough to win.
But we've been saying all year, what has pretty much been the same thing we've been harping all year. It's not an offensive issue for them. It hasn't been. That's not going to be. And on the rare nights that it is, it doesn't last for 4 quarters. Their offensive issues. Like, it might be a lull for a quarter, and then they get hot again. Life is fine, but defense and rebounding.
And it's the interior. It started with the interior, and then when Drummond and Blake Griffin got going inside, you got to send doubles now. This is why I'm saying I love Thomas Brown potential, but he got to keep getting better because he ain't there. Like, when he faces those dudes in the post, it's one-sided. He got to learn, though. So I'm not getting too hard on him because this is really his first year playing heavy minutes. Like, he got to learn. It's no matter what game plan, what they go with you in practice, it's just some things you just got to go through and go through the fire. And dealing with Drummond and Blake Griffin inside, and it ain't like Thomas Bryant 7'2", real. They're bigger than him and stronger and vets. So, that with that being said, so they suck the defense, and that's what allowed those open shooters that need to go off. And so, but that's why I said they got to address that size issue. So somebody can hold their own inside, and the guys can kind of defend the guys on the outside. And that's kind of what's been going on because you saw it with Greek Freak. You can see it with the better teams when they come in.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Just a little bit more important is in Parker. It's only a 3-game, 3 games we've seen. But Portis is averaging 21 points, just under 8 rebounds at 7.7, 2.3 assists. He's shooting 54 from the floor and 55 from 3. Jabari Parker's averaging 9.7 rebounds, just under 6 assists. That number's at 5.7 in 3 games, and they're both from that 2015 draft. As you very nicely reminded folks, the age, it's huge. Neither player is yet reached exactly what they're going to become yet.
I mean, think about it. They pretty much would be either last year or this year. No, last year. They would have been getting done with their senior year in college. So essentially, this is their first. This would be their first year in the pros. It takes time for you to figure yourself out. Look at Bill. He became an all-star this year, but this year is a whole new leap. Like when he's entering his prime, he's starting to really become well-rounded, like strong in every area. It takes time, man. It's the league. The league is real. You know, as Paul Pierce said, you know, and a lot of people just dismiss that, my man, because all the hype and stuff like that, man, it ain't their fault that people hype them up and all that, but you got to be realistic with these young players. And you also got to think about, you can't just give up on young players. You also got to take into account their potential, because you don't want to be asking that question down the line like, yo, why you trade so-and-so for this? Fine, you get a deep run now or maybe a championship now, but then you looking at these guys being in a position that you trade away, this other team in a position to win multiple championships down the line. You don't want to be the guy asking that question.
And that's a perfect segue to start talking about the NBA trade deadline and ask both of you guys about that. But the other thing before we leave the Wizards, I liked about the Bobby Portis signing, as you mentioned, Thomas Bryant. It's competition. All good teams, you need it. Competition sometimes it'll push you to where you need to go. We've seen already it's only been 3 games, but Bryant's minutes have been affected since Bobby's joined the team.
Not just his.
Yeah.
Jeff Green.
Yep.
You know, like that's how it's supposed to be.
Exactly, and that's what for a team that's struggling to establish the right type of culture. Competition is a wonderful thing in those cases. So I'm anxious to see how that plays out the rest of the year too, and especially on the other side of the All-Star break. Now that they have time to see, because Scott really, you don't know what you're doing with the rotations yet. They're still new. They're just out there to figure out after you have some time what you do with this going forward. So that'll be interesting to me. NBA trade deadline. A lot of stuff happened. So I'm going to just ask y'all off top, if you can think, what are some of the moves that stood out to you most? Octavia, I'm going to start with you, and then go to Cardell, and then I'll chime in a little bit.
The one that probably stood out to me the most, just because of how it was done, Harrison Barnes got traded mid-game.
Nah, he knew. They said he knew before, the day before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they
okay,
said
I
he
missed
knew.
that part. I'm sorry.
But he just wanted to play anyway.
Oh, okay. Well, that's better. Because at first it was like, wow.
Yeah, that was. I felt that way. Oh my God, it's like that.
I was like, dang, like we're literally in the middle of the game. But I think that to me it's still kind of interesting just because I remember when Harrison Barnes went to the Mavericks when he left the Warriors after their championship, and how they were really trying to build that team up with him. I believe Wes Matthews came that year as well as Chandler Parsons, and it didn't really pan out for them. Parsons had a really bad injury. Wes Matthews had an injury throughout the year as well. So it's just interesting that, they kind of like scrapped all that real quick. And then also Kristaps Porzingis going to the Mavericks as well. To me, it all happened so fast. It was literally on my phone, one report, Kristaps said he wasn't happy the way the team's direction was going. And then literally 10 minutes later, okay, they're shopping him around. And then literally 10 minutes after that, all right, done deal, he's gone. And it was like, wow, like, did this already start to happen or what? But I like the players that the Mavericks have now. Like, I like Kristaps. I've always liked Tim Hardaway Jr. and Courtney Lee. You pair that, you still got Dennis Smith. You got DeAndre Jordan. I think they have a nice little core team if they can, all mesh well together. I don't think it's going to be this year or maybe even next year, but I think if they can get it together, they can have, kind of get back to their winning ways, as it's been a while for them as well.
You talking about the Mavericks or next?
The Mavericks.
No, DeAndre and Dennis in New York.
After that trade, they got
snap.
Yeah.
You're right.
New York.
It's all good.
You're right. I'm sorry.
A lot of stuff happened.
Just forget all of that I just said. Because so much stuff happens because it literally the trade deadline was at 3, and between 1 and 3, it was like bing, bing, this person, that person. I was like, whoa, you wake up one morning, this person's there, this person's gone. But it's still my favorite time of the year, like when everybody moves around and goes different places.
All right. Cardell, your favorites out of all the craziness that happened.
I mean, you gotta look at the Raptors,
Yeah.
and Philly. Getting Tobias was strong. 'Cause he's a reliable dude that can give you about 28 and 5, man. He don't need a lot of shots to do it. Pro, can always be there. Another guy that would, defend, to deal with the Greek freaks and Kawhis of the world. I like what Toronto did with getting Marcus Gasol. They got him for Embiid. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they was confident that Valanciunas could deal with Embiid, and Ibaka's kind of too small. So they got him. Also, they underrated move that they did. They may pay off in the playoffs. They signed Chris Boucher from the G League, who's been killing. Like he's been going off down there. He's another 6'10", 6'11" dude. Like he's in that shocker mode, Pascal shocker mode, who I think is lead candidate for most improved. So you got all these 6'9", 6'10" dudes, versatile dudes that can step out, shoot threes, catch lobs, run the floor, mid range, go on the block, make plays, block shots, and all that, defend. And, a lot of people don't know about him, but they will if he get the minutes and whatnot. And that's just an asset to go with everything else they have. The Bucks, I know they traded Thon Maker, but
What they got back, though.
man, I mean, but the only thing that scared me about the Bucks is the guard play.
Yeah.
Can it be consistent enough? I know Chris Middleton is an all-star, but he wants to deal with some dudes when that playoff time comes. He going to deal with Jimmy. He wants to keep up with JJ. Toronto, he going to deal with Danny, Kyle, all those guys, Kawhi, and spurts. That's the only thing I'm kind of looking at, because Greek Freak can't do everything. I know Brook Lopez spread the floor, but he can't guard Marcus Gasol and Embiid. That's why these playoffs are going to be crazy, because it's mismatches. It's going to be chess moves.
Like the seeding is going to be so important.
Yeah, home court.
Yes, it's gonna be huge on the eastern side of things, as you said. Because adding Mirotic in Milwaukee,
right?
All the spacing now, when teams try to do things to kind of limit Greek, you can literally take one of the smaller guards off the floor, run things through Greek, and then the spacing is just gonna be stupid. Right. But at the same time, like you said, there's two sides of the ball. Those same guys got to defend. So it's gonna be interesting how that works. Another thing, the Sixers finally moved Markelle. I like where he got sent to. I know a lot of people, back to the whole basketball people thing. Whether or not, the thing with the shooting or not, he showed that he's comfortable making plays for people. He ate in the pick and roll in limited opportunities in Philadelphia. Steve Clifford's offense is crazy pick and roll. They need a point guard. So if he's able to play this year, we just don't know if he's going to come back this year for sure, or if they're going to play the long game a little bit and wait till next year. But still, it's not a bad young piece to add to what you have in Orlando going forward.
And Indiana signed Wesley Matthews to kind of, bolster.
The buyout market's going to be fun. Like you said, Wes Matthews.
To help them, because Oladipo out, Jeremy Lin behind, back in Toronto. Boston, I don't know what's going on internally. It seems like a lot of guys are just, fed up. It's a shame. But it seemed like they're beating themselves. You know what I'm saying? When they should be in the mix. I mean, they're fifth right now in the standings, and that's not. They should be fighting Milwaukee, Toronto for home court.
Yeah.
But I think when no disrespect, when Kyrie said the things he said, I think that fractured a lot of things, because it's like, hold up, champ. In a sense, it kind of place you above them, and it's just like, we made that deep run without you. You need to pump the brakes.
And that's something that I think so many people overlooked this year. I know it's something that we've said here about Boston was last year, you had two different teams, so to speak. You had the team last year that did what they did. Then we never got to see the team with the guys that were supposed to be there, due to injury. So those little kids got to do things they probably weren't expected to do had everyone been healthy last year. But once that happens, you can't really go back. And like you said, it's a difficult balancing act. And the last part about this, if they don't get their act together, you end up 4th or 5th or something like that, you might not get out the first round. Like, just to be completely honest, because these matchups matter so much. And if the infighting doesn't stop or whatever it is over there that's just a bit off, doesn't find its way to a resolution, that's going to be tough to deal with in the first round of the playoffs.
And you don't. And then the thing is, you don't want to have all those wars from 7 games just in case you make it out the East.
Exactly.
Because you're going to have to deal with the dog out west. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the Warriors are obviously right there. I love what OKC's going. Really trying to think. I know everybody giving Houston hype because the hardest run, but I don't know. I mean, I like the moves they made. Also getting Kenneth Faried. Guys are getting healthy just in time. But I don't know if they have enough either. You know what I'm saying? They still kind of struggling because it's like everybody coming back, so it's like hard, and you got to come back down and sacrifice, and that's an adjustment. It's hard to come back down off that because you so in rhythm. You know what I'm saying? Your instincts like, man, go. That's gonna take time. Really trying to think out west, like who. Denver, Denver's still there.
Yeah. Shumpert went to the Rockets.
That's another pickup that's gonna make it tough. He's there for Clay.
Yeah.
Those Clay guys. Denver, like same thing. Denver's the same position as the Bucks. They got a dog up in the middle, but I gotta see if that guard play will be consistent.
Speaking of guard play, IT's possibly might play tomorrow, but at least we should definitely expect him for the second half of the season. And it's gonna be interesting to see because that's a situation where for the most part, it's a bunch of youngsters with a couple. He's the only real quote unquote vet over there for real. So it's gonna be interesting to watch how he gets integrated there. Just things to keep an eye on because you got a lot of young kids over there playing meaningful roles and doing well, and you don't want this thing to fall off the tracks. But having something like IT, if it's coming off your bench, isn't exactly the worst thing in the world to have. Come playoff time, should everything stay on track in Denver.
So I'm looking at the Jazz. They streaking. They got off to a rough start, but they're starting to streak, get it together, make their moves. And I think between the the 4th and 7th seed, I think the game is separated by 2 games. So home court gonna be they gotta win because you don't want to face the Warriors and them in the first round. You're going home. OKC, you're going home. So, and obviously Portland, they 4th. So they lose a couple games, have a little bad losing streak, they can drop.
Oh, and while we're talking about the trades and whatnot, I'm so sorry to leave out Portland. I like the addition of Rodney Hood. I was happy that he got out of the place he was at, where they need more scoring over there. And it felt like for the most part, they didn't have anybody outside of those 2 dynamic guards that could go get a bucket for themselves. So I do like that in that regard. Then they got another young big. We'll see how he does with his opportunity in Scallop this year over there. But that's something where he could be running out of time too. So I did not say he was going to contribute. I just said that's what they got. Stop right there. So that's what they got. Also, shout out to Jake Layman.
Say Lonzo better than LeBron.
I mean, I'm not attaching myself
to
Scal.
Scal
I'm just saying that's where Scal went. But that's the thing. You don't do anything here.
Out the league, baby.
Yeah. That's reality. Shout out to former Terp Jake Layman. He's seeming to find his way in the league too.
It's motivation when guys come and take his money. Start balling.
It's like you gotta play in real life, play or go home. Go home and stay home.
And he coming in rough that jump, so that's how I go.
Definitely like that. But again, keep an eye on the rest of the buyout market because a lot of things are still happening in that regard. Where contenders you come up off a nice little piece here and there for the low. But we're gonna take a quick break, and when we get back, gonna jump into this college segment. You're watching the Focus TV. All right, welcome back to the Focus. Since the last time we were here, a lot has happened with the Maryland Terps Women's basketball team. They've continued their nice little run through the Big Ten. This thing started slow with the loss to Rutgers at home at the beginning of conference play. Since then, they found their way. They beat Wisconsin, Illinois, Northwestern, and just this week they got revenge back on Rutgers on Sunday, up on the road, which definitely didn't hurt their run to continue to dominate the Big Ten. Things are a little bit tougher this year, but it's good to see them find their legs. As of right now, the win over Illinois gave the Terps their 15th consecutive season with at least 20 wins. So congrats to Coach Freeze. Consistency at any level should be commended. The junior class, I know we've talked a lot about the freshmen this year, rightfully so for their contributions to this Maryland team. But what I have liked during this last 5 to 7 games, the junior class started to assert themselves. Kyla Charles is taking over large stretches of games. Before it's kind of just picking the spots, but in conference play, when you need your vets to kind of step up, she's answered the bell. Blair Watson looks to be playing. She looks to not be thinking about her injury anymore, and she's contributing. And she's like Kyla. They got two just assassins to put on people from the defensive side of things and just really dictate the terms. Because it's kind of hard to bring the ball up, and there's 2 6-foot+ athletes that you can just throw on point guards, shooting guards, threes, what have you. They're able to switch. Then you have Shakira down there along with Stephanie. A lot of versatility defensively. And then Stephanie Jones, consistency. She's just been her normal, consistent self, and it's helped in conference play. They know when things get tough, the junior class, those three are right there to pick up the slack. The other thing with Maryland, at the moment, they're back atop the Big Ten, and the win streak is currently at 7. And, it was a nice, sizable win at Rutgers. They return home this week. They'll be hosting Nebraska on Thursday. And, last night during the South Carolina-UConn game, they put up, they did the bracketology thing, and, just for if the tournament started today, what have you, Maryland would be a 3rd seed as of right now. But we're going to see, obviously, still a lot of time to go between now and when brackets come out. And Maryland still has work to be done. You got the rest of conference play and then, obviously, the conference tournament. But before we take our next break, got to thank Jamal Hayward, as always, the 9-4-50 breakdown. This week, he's breaking down a spin with and without an extra dribble. Again, he's breaking down a spin with and without an extra dribble. We'll see you guys on the other side of the break.
So pay attention to my footwork. I'm going to step with the right foot first. So, 1 dribble, 2nd dribble. So, pay attention to the footwork. Right, left, right. Now I'm going to spin. Right, left, right. Now, if I'm going up for a finish, keep the ball protected. Some people don't protect the ball. You step right, left, finish with the left, or finish with the right. Some people do this. The ball is exposed to the defense. Your back is to the defense. You don't know where they're at. Another mistake players make. 1, 2. They dribble right here. So now this is the spin move with an extra dribble. So if you dribble right here, the defense can recover after the spin and poke from behind. So, 1, here, dribble, extend. So pay attention to my footwork. I'm going to step with the right foot first. So, 1 dribble, 2nd dribble. So, pay attention to the footwork. Right, left, right. Now I'm going to spin. Right, left, right. Now, if I'm going up for a finish, keep the ball protected. Some people don't protect the ball. You step right, left, finish with the left, or finish with the right. Some people do this. The ball is exposed to the defense. Your back is to the defense. You don't know where they're at. Another mistake players make. 1, 2. They dribble right here. So now this is the spin move with
Welcome back to the Focus TV, and as always, many thanks to Jamal Hayward with 9-4-50 breakdown. Enjoy that each and every week. So, Cardell, the floor is yours. I know you want to talk about a little something. Finest magazine side of things.
Yeah, dropped a new issue today. This NBA mid-season awards. Try to make it as thorough as possible, not just the all-star selections or who should be MVP. You know, I went down across the board, all NBA, who I feel is all NBA, executive of the year, all defensive player, all that. And I just went through the whole thing and just instead of just doing a write-up, like why not put in the issue and really get deep with it. You know what I'm saying? So people understand what's really going on, why, how I feel these certain players are, deserve these type of accolades, and, validated with stats and winning and everything like that. They can go check, obviously, and, see what's going on, because I'm pretty sure a lot of them don't even understand, like, how a lot of these players, what they're really doing. They just know the names.
Yep.
They don't know a lot of the guys who are establishing their name. So, that's just something to go to. Go to finestmag.com and check it out. Go to issue, and it's right there.
All right, folks, get over there. What I'm looking forward to is later at the end of the year to see how everything lines up from the mid-season projections, or also what's changed. We got the second half of the season. Who's going to take the game to another level? Who's able to sustain it? Who's not? So
see what Paul George doing. He's emerging in the MVP discussion. So
emerging is a kind word. All right, so into this week's high school rankings. Then take a quick look at these, and when we get back, we got a little bit more high school basketball, some DC United updates, and rapid fire.
All right, welcome back. Adding on to the high school segment, had the pleasure of going to check out Flint Hill on Saturday. They took on Christ Chapel. A lot of people don't know Flint Hill is running through people. They're 22-2. Right now they're second in our rankings. But they got a little bit of an edge over St. Francis, who's about 29-4 right now, behind DeMatha. But they're led by, the new Georgetown commit, 6'11" center, Qudus Wahab, and, point guard, fast rising point guard, Jordan Harrison. Jordan Harrison had an off game this game, but Qudus Wahab definitely, picked up the slack, leading Flint Hill to a 68-46 win over Christ Chapel. Wahab finished with 32 points. Now, obviously, a lot of high school games don't keep stats on rebounds and block shots, but he was active with that. I wanted to talk about him because obviously he's going to be a big piece coming into the class in Georgetown, which I think is a great fit for him. Obviously coming to play for Pat Ewing, one of the greatest big men to ever play. The tradition and history with Zoe and Mutombo and all those guys, man, it's tailor-made for him to succeed if you put the work in and listen. Watching him come up through high school, I'm talking about Wahab, he was obviously raw at the beginning. He didn't have the best hands or whatever, but you could see the court, the athleticism going up and down the court, jumping and dunking and stuff like that. He's gotten better. He's gotten more polished. Now when you throw it in the post, he's more sure He's catching the passes. He's more sure of what he can do. He's going to work on the block. He's actually solid, controlling the ball in traffic, where before it used to be a turnover. I kind of want him to get stronger because of, during the game, a lot of times when he went up to try to dunk, they just hit him with a common foul and the ball would fly out. Obviously if that don't fly in the high school level, it won't fly in the Big East. One thing another thing I definitely love was he displayed patience. He ain't just get the ball and go like you see a lot of high school players go. He took his time, surveyed. They was trying to send doubles and triples from all over the place to confuse him. He waited. He would pump fake and act like he was gonna go, and then the defense would show themselves. Then he knew exactly what to do. That's just experience and everything, like being taught well. The work and stuff like that. Then when they came hard on double and triple teams, he found an open man. They got scores. That's what they doing. They playing off of him, and it's working at 22-2. He's being very dominant. He's a very good rebounder. I know he had close to 10 plus boards. They didn't keep the stats for that. He blocked a few shots, altered a few more, but I want to see him become more assertive. There's no reason with his talent and ability, he should be averaging around 10 a game at the high school level. It's easy, but a lot of times he was late, and that's just the instincts late, trying to block shots or whatnot. Runs the floor well, 6'11". He also showed a nice touch, nice form on a couple mid-range jumpers when he stayed out there and they run out at him. He no hesitation, he knocked it down. And he even took a couple three-pointers that looked good that he just missed, So you could tell how much room he has to grow with his game. Whereas, like I said, you get to Georgetown, he listens and stuff like that. I'm not saying he's an NBA prospect right now, but if he becomes one, people shouldn't be shocked. It's a great situation for him. Wishing the best, but keep an eye on him moving forward because they got a two-headed monster, and it's not just him. They have a couple other guys that are raw and young, that are about 6'9", 6'10" as well. So as they develop, they can be So keep an eye on them moving forward as they try to get through their conference tournament. And, trying to get all championship season is on us, so they're gonna try to get one.
All right, quick question for you on that. How big, at least, it's early, we don't know how things are going to turn out at Georgetown. How big of a piece for this is Ewing landing him?
I won't put the expectations like he's a program changer coming in, because he still has some development to do, but he would definitely be in the rotation, for sure. I think with Goldman leaving, I think, seeing the emergence of McClung and all that, I think it's going to kind of be geared more around him.
Right.
So I think he's going to kind of have to do the dirty work at the beginning until he can show he's capable of scoring consistently down there. I mean, people forget Patrick Ewing wasn't averaging 30 at Georgetown. He was a lot similar to what we saw with Anthony Davis, a few years ago when Kentucky won the national championship. He averages, 13, 14, 15 points, but he was blocking shots and getting rebounds. That was his game. And it worked. They kept going to national championships. I'm talking about Georgetown and whatnot. They were dominant. So I think that's kind of the expectations. But I think also Ewing, if you listen to the interviews throughout his career, he was like, when he got to the league, he showed that he can shoot well. He's like, I had that at Georgetown, but, Big John's like dominating the paint, So I think he would be more open if Cutis in practice showed he can be trusted in those situations where he would allow, Cutis to go ahead and do what he do. But he got to prove that, So it won't be easy. They got a couple of young bigs that's on the team now that show they has promise or whatnot. So, when we had Ron Bailey on, he talked about it. So, but I think the team's going to be around McClung going into next year. And, it's up to him to just emerge and, get in that rotation and then produce. And as he produces, Ewing will give him more responsibility and open things up for him.
All right. A quick DC United update. I mean, essentially, it's still preseason. So, preseason rolls on. Black and Red they've had 2 preseason games already. They beat Bethlehem Steel FC. That's from the USL. 1-0. The USL is also the league in which DC United has Loudoun United, which is in their first year, similar to the Wizards having the Go-Go in the G League. So, in their second matchup, they did play MLS side, FC Cincinnati. That game was 1-1, but in preseason, you pretty much had your big guns in the first half, and you take them out pretty much second half. So Acosta scored the lone goal for United in the first half. March 3rd is rapidly approaching. The season opener, DC United hosts the reigning champion, Atlanta United FC. Speaking of Atlanta, according to the Washington Post, Stephen Goff, DC United has claimed Chris McCann off waivers. He started 21 games for the champs last season. If you have followed DC United in the past, this is one of those pickups where it's a versatile vet that can plug gaps when needed, and you can never have enough of those, especially with how much youth DC United has at the moment. So, Cardell, rapid fire, what you got for us this week?
Man, we got a lot. The Cleveland Browns have announced they signed Kareem Hunt to a contract. He was drafted by the Chiefs when John Dorsey was GM of them. He's the GM of the Browns now, so he decided to give Hunt a second chance. And what are your thoughts on that?
I'm not surprised. I figured he would land somewhere because in the league they like to give second chances and things like that, at least two. And the Browns are, I won't say known for it, but the whole Josh Gordon situation, they stuck around with him for a while. So they're a team that's going to try to back them up and try to help them possibly. I still think it's a good pickup, depending upon, like they have already come out and said, they don't know when he's going to be in a uniform, point blank at this point. But if a lot of people were on board for the whole Reuben Foster signing with the Redskins, you kind of can't be mad at this situation as well. I still think it's a little bit dicey just because of the situation that he's in, but when it comes down to it being strictly football, I think it's a good pickup for them.
It's just another example that NFL just have a short memory of anything, and just, I'm not saying Kareem doesn't deserve a second chance. That's fine and all, but shout out to Eric Reed. He got a 3-year contract from the Panthers, but we're still at the same place with the same person that essentially, we're pretending doesn't exist. And second chances are being given to each and everyone who's done everything but that. Mm-hmm. And last time I checked, the one thing he did wasn't a crime, but it's been he's been punished for it like it's worse than every other transgression. And I don't want this to be taken as a personal attack on Kareem Hunt. Again, I have no issue with people getting second chances, but simply stating, I don't think there's anything wrong with simply stating the inconsistencies with this league and what's given a second chance and what's considered worse than breaking the actual law. Mm-hmm. So,
I mean, moral and integrity don't apply to the NFL. I mean, people keep thinking that, that's what it is. And honestly, the NFL don't feel it needs to because people won't keep supporting it. So it is what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, you bringing up Kaepernick as usual, he did the ultimate sin in their eyes. He attacked white privilege, across the board. And when you do that, they come after you, hard. So to try to make an example of you to not attack white privilege and, whatnot. So just another day at the office for the NFL, man.
Basically.
That's why I've been turned off for the past couple of years. Whatever, it is what it is. Top 5 senior guard in the country, Anthony Edwards, announced his commitment to Georgia, turning down Kentucky. He becomes the Bulldogs' highest-ranked recruit in the ESPN recruiting era. He chose Georgia over Kentucky after canceling a scheduled visit to Florida State. He's a 6'4" guard, 210 pounds, at Holy Spirit Prep in Atlanta, and is ranked number 5 in ESPN for the class of 2019. And on the Under Armour circuit for the Atlanta Express, he averaged 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists while shooting 47% from three-point range. A lot of people feel that he can be a top 2 pick in next year's draft. Once he come out, what do y'all think about that?
To me, it just sounds like he just feels comfortable being home. Mm-hmm. He's like you said, he had a lot of looks from a lot of different schools, and to be dubbed as possibly being a 1 or 2 number 1 pick in a draft coming up soon, that's a big deal. And Georgia doesn't really land a lot of huge, those top tier type of players. So to me, it just had to feel like a home to him. Like he had to feel really close to maybe the program. Maybe he really felt like the coach would really look out for him. He knew his family was around. He doesn't have to travel far. Maybe his family wants to be able to come to all his games. A lot of times I think people don't think about that aspect of the decision making when it goes into picking a school. They just think about, let's go to the best school that's going to get me to the highest play. Like, if you're a great player, no matter where you go, you should shine and you should be able to get where you need to go. So to me, that's just what it sounds like. It sounds like he wants to stay home. He's got to feel like that organization is just right for him. So I give him props for having the courage to do it, because a lot of people might have, I'm pretty sure he still had a lot of people in his ears like, nah, don't stay here, go here, do this, do that. So hopefully it was his own decision, and I give him props for being able to make that decision.
Yeah, I mean, I'm for it. Always for somebody doing what they would like to do, is where he wants to be. I'm sure it bucked the trend traditionally for people that expected players of that caliber to go to Georgia. That's not for football reasons, because that's typical that's typical for Georgia on that side of things. But yeah, go make your own path. You do something crazy at Georgia, go down in history at that school. So
I mean, part of it is he wanted to stay at home, but also is Tom Crean, pedigree, Dwayne Wade and Victor Oladipo. Like, who better at home, and who better to get you molded to get ready for the pros, than those guys who basically in that mode. He kind of reminds me a lot of people don't remember because of how he looked in the league was Deshaun Stevenson. Deshaun Stevenson was an animal in high school, and people forget he skipped college for a reason, and he was so dominant he just didn't get drafted by a bad team. He got drafted by the Utah Jazz with Jerry Sloan and those guys, Stockton and all them. That tells you how much they believed in his talent and whatnot. He kind of reminds me of him with his size and athleticism, but a lot of his skill is at the same point is ahead of Deshaun Stevenson. That's why you starting to hear Harden comparisons, because Harden about 6'5", 230. This kid already 6'4", 210 coming in. As he develop, he can easily get to that size. But the thing is, he can shoot. Like, he shot like 40-some% on the circuit and whatnot. He can shoot. He has ball skills, and they already getting the ball rolling on, kind of developing him to put him in a Harden role, because he's normally been a two guard. When I saw him at Top 100 camp, he was playing a two. But this year, they got him bringing up the ball, facilitating, doing a little bit of, everything like what Harden does. So you see the damage Harden's doing. I think that's what they projecting the ceiling to be. But the thing is, he plays stronger defense and he has a higher motor. He gets after it. So it's a win-win for the kid. I love his talent. Just keep working. Bottom line, Antonio Brown has officially requested a trade from the Pittsburgh Steelers, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. What are your thoughts on that, guys?
Tell him we got space for him in Philly.
Oh, Lord, yeah.
We'll let some people go. They already talking about Golden Tate going to places. Look, you don't even got to buy a new house. Just get you a little apartment over here for the season. Just come on over.
You worse than LeBron.
I'm about to start recruiting.
Like on air. Yeah, I mean, I forgot the tweet earlier, but it's really interesting. It's kind of like, talk about with the Steelers, how they had both of those players, right? Talk about Le'Veon and Antonio. And in the time that they were there, knowing how the NFL works, how it's set up, that there probably wasn't enough proper planning done. And this is kind of the manifestation of that. And this is not to absolve Antonio for the way he acts, but when there was a point where these guys, that offense was loaded, right? And whatever came out of it. And now you're at the place where you felt like you could play that, and this is the NFL mindset again. It's different type of players these days, and you felt you could play the whole it's a hard line or whatever with Le'Veon. You messed that whole thing up. You can't franchise him again. The only thing you can do is transition tag, a.k.a. get something for him as he leaves you. AB's probably going to make enough noise until you got to get rid of him. This is what this sounds like it's heading. And for AB, me personally, I don't want you to land in the Bay. So I wish you the best.
But apparently that's where he wants to go. Did you see? I know it was a while ago. He posted a whole.
I'm good off that right now. But I think that was the biggest thing that's left out of all this. We're talking about the player side of this. And we were talking just earlier with NBA and GMs and making moves and whatnot. The Steelers definitely from that side of thing mismanaged a lot of this talent that they've had over there during this window, as it's probably eventually going to come to a close. But go ahead, Cardell.
Man, at this point, man, it might just be what's best.
Yeah.
You know, is it all on him? The situation, no. You know, yeah, the quarterback throw you on the bus continuously. Sure, him and Tomlin had their, you know, their run-ins or whatnot. But at the end of the day, you know, you still a grown man. You got to be professional. A lot of things he did was unprofessional, you know what I'm saying? And it gets old. You know, you get tired of it no matter how good you are. And, you know, people make a good point when they say he don't act out when he's getting the ball, when he's getting the stats. And you know what I'm saying? He only acts out when he feel like he's not getting the opportunity to get his stats, which ultimately I get it. That's how you earn your money. And then you see this other new kid over there getting the shine.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You start feeling the way, you know, whatnot. But, man, you know, wide receivers are divas, for sure.
Always.
So, I don't know, man. It's just, it seemed like it's time. And then, you know me, the type of dude I am, you keep, like, not just bucking, but going on social media about how you don't want to be here and all that. I'm like, I'm going to grant you your wish.
Yeah.
Bye. You know what I'm saying? Because there will always be another, you know, wide receiver. It's just, the headaches get old.
This is an organization that continues to find them, like, easily at that. Like, this is an organization at one point in time, Emmanuel Sanders and Antonio were the nobodies on this team. Mm-hmm. You know, just to go back some years, like you said, at some point, you know, the drama outweighs the talent, and that's just a bad situation. And I'm not just talking about him too. It's a bad situation. All parties involved.
Yeah, Ben deserves some heat.
And Ben, I feel like is the guy that's kind of been able to escape a lot of this. For the most part, that bothers me for a lot. But I mean, it's NFL, and I think we all know why. But you know, you play quarterback, you're never wrong, depending on what you look like. So, and he's throwing everybody under the bus when he does stupid things. Everybody. And this is what I'm saying about mismanaging this thing is, if you didn't throw all that money to somebody who wasn't the guy, you know, you thought that they were claiming to be, you might not be in a situation if you moved on from that person and said, you're going to have that person in either of these two. Mm-hmm. So, you know, hey, it is what it is.
Magic Johnson, after the failed trade attempt, where he pretty much put the entire roster for Anthony Davis.
Everybody can go.
Couple staff members for the Lakers as well. You know, all that.
And the water boy, you gotta come.
You know, they asked him about the aftermath of dealing with the young players that weren't traded, and his quote was, "It's a part of the business. It's a part of being a professional athlete. I'm going to hug them and tell them that we got to come together, and our goal is still in reach, which is to make the playoffs." Then on Sunday, he came back. I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy who, I'm going to hold, I'm going to go up and hug guys. I'm not that dude. Quit making this about thinking these guys are babies, because that's what you're treating them like. They're professionals, all of them, and this is how the league works. They know it. I know it. That's how it goes. What do you take on that?
So I'm not with the flip-flopping. That's the first thing. Like, look, say what you got to say the first time. Either you going to hug him or you not going to hug him. Which one you going to do? But in the harsh reality, he's right. It's a business at the end of the day. Like I said before, like, just sitting there even thinking that this happened, that Harrison Barnes was getting traded during the game. Like, even the thought, like the fact that it even looked like that. You know, people were like, dang, but at the end of the day, it's a business. Like, some people don't realize that, yes, it's a game. They love it. This is what they get to do every day. But it is still a business. People have livelihoods on the line, and they got things that they need to get done as well. And to be honest, you know, it should put some fire underneath them. You know, to know that you could have been gone, like, you need to start proving a point. You need to start showing more reasons why you need to be there. But he's right. You know, he shouldn't have to coddle them. He shouldn't have to go to them and be like, yeah, you know. I mean, it should be a given. But at the end of the day, even though it is a business, it doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt them on the inside. You just still have to be a professional. You still got to go in and you still got to play. You can't harbor any ill feelings when it comes to the game. If you don't want to be his best friend, that's fine. You know, he still sign your checks, but you still just have to be a professional when it comes down to it. And I just wish Magic would have been real from the jump. Like, you can't do one thing, because then that's going to start making them look at you like, okay, like, when are you telling the truth and when aren't you? That could start another little thing. Hopefully it doesn't. But I'm not surprised, you know, it happens every day, and it's going to continue to happen as long as the NBA is alive.
It's just a microcosm of the new culture that you adopted when said person was signed, when LeBron was signed. Some of us that have been called haters and all types of other
like,
things.
Y'all do that. It was probably LeBron told me, he was like, hey, take this one, that one, and this one.
We all
and
saw
throw a
this
couple of
coming.
these. You could take, what's his name? Luke with him, too. Take the coach. Let's trade the coach, too. You know?
And this the thing is like, and this is the part that's interesting to me, is everybody likes to bring up all types of different stuff, positive and negative, but some things that don't change is simple things called facts. Wherever he goes, toxic things have ended up happening, right? In this situation, these kids were excited. I remember Cardell said have the same energy later because we first saw you had to be in denial or just a stand to not see this coming at all, right? Like you just had to be. And the other thing is, the kids get to see the brutal side of this business, and this is just yet another reason why all the people that are like, oh, why does so and so's come to play with LeBron? This is reason number 9,725 why players just don't do it.
They don't want to play with him.
This is not worth that. These kids didn't do anything. You said you're gonna come here, be a leader, then do those things. Being a leader is not what happens. If you wanted AD, that's cool. Let that happen organically. And then you don't have that. But now, as you go forward, as usual, it's already, now these kids, they probably didn't see that at first, have got to see firsthand that it's you and then them. And as you go forward, and we talk about the Boston situation, with the internal stuff there, I don't know how you're going to do whatever you want to do for the rest of the season where this is positive things are going to come from this. I forget what game, I think it was against the Celtics. Kuzma got the ball, extra pass could have been to Bron. Young boy took the shot, nailed it. Bronson there waiting for the pass or whatever. Like, I expect a lot, and I'm not saying Kuzma did anything wrong, but, more organic things, the extra pass probably made or whatever. But this is going to be what that is because, like you said, the trust is broken going forward, both on the court and, above. Like, it's toxic. But go ahead, Cardell.
I think first on Magic, great player, all time, greatest point guard, but he could be fake at times. That Hollywood coaching. Look at D'Angelo Russell. You can't be like, man, he made a mistake, man, but we're gonna move forward. Then you get a number 2 pick in the draft, and you just kick him out the door. And the thing, I'm not even mad at that because of the situation that Russell created. But don't kick him on his way out the door when he was just like, he couldn't be a leader for our franchise and all that. But you wasn't saying that before. That's fake. So I've been looking at Magic kind of sideways ever since then. So when this situation came, it's just like, what else? Now, she's right. It is a grown man business. That's what you signed up for when you enter the league. That's what it is. But how they doing it and how open they was, like, man, like, get them up out of here and all that stuff like that, that's cold. And it's easy for Magic to say that because he's never been on the block like that. He don't know how that feel. You know what I'm saying? You always been the guy. You know what I'm saying? So, which is like a lot of people, when they never felt it, they lack sympathy towards that situation, and that's not cool. You gotta be sympathetic. And bottom line, like I said in the post on IG, man, like, if I'm the youngest, man, I'm taking shots AI style. I don't give a about no dang winning enough. I'm doing me. Like, that's how y'all created it. It's y'all and us.
Yeah, because now you're auditioning to be other places. Who knows?
You literally just said everyone's expendable but this guy. You can't put that back in the bottle.
And last time I checked, he didn't win a championship by himself.
You can't put
last time I checked, it was Kyrie hitting some big shots, Kevin Love hitting some big shots, and some people hit some big shots for him to win.
He ever won one by himself.
Yeah, no one has. So why are you putting this dude like that much above? And then you gambling because of his age and the mileage and stuff like that. He might not even be there at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So you gambling with that, and then get mad. Everybody get mad at the Pelicans for not catering to the. My job is another franchise not to cater to you guys.
Another thing, how many times do teams trade within the conference?
And that's another thing. Why would
just from good business? Yeah. Who does
so I can get killed saying we a horrible franchise. We just elevated the Lakers to championship status and whatnot, and I got to hear all this. Like, I don't get these. But that's what happens when you coming from the business world where you get everything you want. You become a little delusional, and it don't work like that in basketball. My job is not to cater you. Or we gonna get different deals, and we gonna make the best move for what we feel is best, man. We not on that, and it's just it's just a shame. So like, and then what you was talking about, keep that same energy. That was cool when he was like, "Yeah, welcome to the Lakers." I'm like, bro, do you know how this works?
Yep.
Oh, you think it ain't gonna work for you the same?
It changed.
Okay.
Hey, look, it changed quick. It changed really quick. But we need you guys, as always, get over to finestmag.com, get over to mymonosports.com, and we will see you guys next week, same time, same place, right here on the Focus TV.